Hi, my name is Christoph Reichert from CBR Technology. We're a Microsoft Dynamics NAV and D365 partner in California. Most of our clients are in the distribution wholesale industries as well as manufacturing, but we also cover field service management as well as construction and job costing projects. Today I wanted to cover a basic functionality that is needed from time to time, which are vendor refunds that you may receive in the mail or, obviously via a check that is sent to you. This could also be, of course, an ACH transaction as well. So in NAV, typically these refund transactions have to be related to and matched up to an existing credit memo, or if you don't have an existing credit memo, create a secondary transaction, which is in fact this credit memo. So if the circumstances are such that the vendor has a credit balance and they are refunding you the money that you have as a credit balance with them, then you just do a refund transaction on its own. If the vendor is sending you money as part of a vendor promotion, then you need to simply create a credit memo manually. And I've gone ahead and done that for this vendor in the Kronos USA company called Progressive Home Furnishings. And if you look at them here, I went ahead and created a $100 credit memo. And when I created this credit memo, I chose to select a miscellaneous income account to which I posted this $100. So, of course, this is a credit, and it's going to be debiting accounts payable. And this credit could go to an income account, or it could go as an offset to an expense account. You choose what is more appropriate for the transaction. I pretended to have this transaction be part of a marketing promotion where the vendor sent you $100 back, basically unrelated to any previous activity. So I created this purchase credit memo, and I posted it in NAV, so now the system shows a $100 credit balance for Progressive Furnishings. Now the next step is to actually record the refund, and that is done in a general journal, typically, that you can simply record in here, and I went ahead and created a batch called Refund. The only difference between a regular default general ledger journal batch and this one is that I'm already defaulting the offset account to go to my US dollar bank account instead of overriding that manually. So when I go to the refund batch, I put in, of course, the date of the transaction. Under the document type, I'm selecting refund because that is what I'm receiving from the vendor. The system will be configured typically to auto number your transactions. This is done through the numbering setup in NAV, and your partner typically set this up for you originally. In our case, I have a document number that gets auto-populated. And then I am choosing a vendor from whom I'm receiving this refund check. So in this case, it is Progressive Home Furnishings. And in the description, I can do a further detailed description of the actual transaction. So let's say this is a marketing promo refund, and I'm going to hit my $100 with that, and go and offset the bank account and the bank dollar amount here. So in our case, actually, I do apologize, the refund has to be a positive dollar amount, not a negative number, because you are going to be increasing accounts payable because Credit Memo has already decreased accounts payable. So this is the reverse of that. So of course, to increase your accounts payable, which is a liability, you'll be crediting it. Sorry, that is minus 100. And when I do the actions preview posting, you will see that I now have two journal entries that result of that. One is in this case, a debit to my checking account, which is $11,500, and a credit to my accounts payable account, $22,400. So this is the offset that you see here, or the GL journal entry that results of that. Now, if I were to post this transaction as is, then the net balance of the vendor would be zero. But You also have the ability to apply it at this point to that particular credit memo. So if you have a vendor with a lot of activity, you can make sure that this gets cleaned up properly, and this would be done once you post a transaction as well, or right in here directly. So this is a really important issue that our clients run into frequently, is if you don't know the proper apply to information, it wouldn't stop you from recording this transaction. You could record this transaction anytime, and you can apply it later. I'm going to show you a couple of different options here, but I'm going to do this right now and just hit apply to. And right in here, it shows me that I have a credit memo of $100 that I can take my refund of $100 to and apply them to each other. So under the action button, you'll see the option that says set apply to ID. And that simply links my document number G0001 to this credit memo that I previously posted, and they will be applied to each other. Go ahead and hit OK, and that's all you need to do. You could also attach a PDF file to this if you had some sort of documentation, or you wanted to take a copy of the check and attach it to it. We generally speaking recommend using the electronic document management features in NAV and D365 to allow you to do these types of attachments. So in my case, I'm going to skip this because I don't actually have a PDF to go along with it, but this is how you would go about doing that. If you were to do that, it would show up on the right-hand side here in the incoming document files area, and you would show the transaction in there. So I'm going to hit and post, say yes here, and it will just say you successfully posted the transaction. So now when I go back to my vendor, Progressive Home Furnishing, of course you see that the balance is now 0, and no outstanding amounts are in fact in place. However, if I look at the vendor ledger entries, so under navigate, you can see ledger entries, and this will show all the transactions that occurred. Now in the sample company there was a previous transaction invoice for Progressive, but these are the two that I just created now. One was the credit memo, which I've previously shown you, and this is the refund that was applied to it. Now if you scroll to the right here, you'll see that there's usually 2 columns in there, and this is really critical to understand some of the functionality in NAV and D365, in that you have an amount of the original transaction and a remaining amount. And you can see that both of these transactions, the credit memo and the refund, are remaining of 0, and the reason why they are 0 is because they have been applied to each other. Now in my case, I could change my mind and say that should not be applied to that transaction. In fact, there is the unapplied feature under actions where you can say unapply this activity from each other, and when you hit unapply here, it will prompt you to confirm that that's in fact what you want to do, and you can say yes, and then these amounts will become open. So now you can see I have an open credit memo for $100 and I have a refund for $100, and they're not applied to each other, hence both transactions are open and both transactions are showing the same remaining amount. And so you can undo and redo this and reverse this anytime you want to. And again, with apply entries, you could just simply repeat this. The only difference is if you do it now, you actually have to hit the post application button, and that will actually post it as a separate transaction. You're now back to where you were before. So this was a quick review of the refund procedures in NAV. And we started off with a purchased credit memo that was either already on account with an existing transaction, or we are recording the fact that the vendor is essentially giving us money back with a credit memo, giving us the ability to distribute that to wherever we like on our GL, typically in the revenue or expense section. And then we did a general journal transaction to record a refund and applied that refund to that credit memo. Appreciate your time. If there's anything else we can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. CBR Technology in California, we are available at 714-901-5740. Have a good day.